I'd like to know from both of you, how's Rochelle handling this, and what is she going to do? She's caught squarely in the middle.
She's handling it fine. Mark, you talking about my wife, but what happens is, because Al's the son and he's the loved and beloved son, he always get preferential treatment. So whenever they have the ball, they're gonna be cheering wildly for Baylor. Although I will get some love when we have the basketball and we on defense.
Alvin III, what do you think about all that?
I think she'll be wearing red, but we'll see.
Well, actually, Mark, to ask you a question, my niece, Michelle, who actually her husband is Ronnie Courtney. He's the head basketball coach. He coached TJ Ford at Willow Ridge, and he now is a high school coach in Houston at Marshall. So Michelle is actually having shirts made for the family. One side is red and the other side is green for Houston and for Baylor. So, they're both going to be cheering us wildly.
Thank you, and congrats.
Thank you.
We'll go to John Warner with the Waco Tribune. John, go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, this is for Alvin III. Have you ever faced your dad before as an assistant? And what's kind of your feelings going into this?
Well, it's funny you say that. We actually did an interview earlier before the tournament actually started. And officially, I'm 0-2. When I was at Sam Houston and he was at Houston, we lost twice. And then unofficially, if you count the game while I was at Baylor when we scrimmaged for the hurricane relief. So 0-3 unofficially, 0-2 officially.
What is your, I guess it's probably hard to put in words, but what have you learned from your dad? I mean, I'm sure it's a plethora of things, but can you put it into words?
I mean, I know it's a time limit, so I can't really talk exactly everything that I learned, but I mean, he's taught me a lot. He's taught me, how to be a good person more importantly than anything. He never pushed me to play a sport at all and allowed me to kind of grow and do what I love to do. I actually never wanted to be a coach. And so he never really brought me around the gym as much because he wanted me to be a kid and, enjoy it organically. And so when I called him to be a coach, he actually told me no, call him back in 2 weeks. So, I mean, he's definitely allowed me to create my own path.
Great. Thanks, Alvin.
Thank you.
Joseph Duarte with the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, go ahead, please, sir.
Alvin, I'm curious, what's a typical week like for you and your son in terms of how much you talk, communicate, and how much will that change after we get off this Zoom?
Well, typically, I mean, we're like best friends. I mean, we talk every day. I mean, we talk every day. During the season, off season, we constantly talk about, sometimes players, sometimes our teams and how we get better at this and different things like that. I was waiting for him last night when he, obviously they played the late game, and we FaceTime from the court when they were celebrating, and then I waited for him at the hotel, and we embraced and talked about that, and what we would do going forward. One thing is family with tickets is one problem we're going to have, and then being from Houston. But then we talked about how we kind of will manage it, and so we wanted to kind of get a few of these things out the way, and then probably about starting Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to be locked in, and we probably won't talk as much. We'll talk in fashion, in passing, and we'll get ready to play. It's all love, but he's as competitive as I am. So that's kind of what we'll do.
Alvin, if I could get a quick follow-up, you probably more than anyone at Houston has an inside knowledge of what this program has gone through, what it's come from, going back to, the 80s and stuff. What's it been like for you to kind of have the two sides of what you've seen as a head coach, and then also be able to continue as an assistant coach for as long as you have?
Man, it's amazing. It's surreal. I look a lot of times. I've looked in the Guy V. Lewis Center, and you see all of the banners from the tournament teams, and so it's crazy. I've actually been a part of tournament teams from 3 different decades at Houston, you know, from the 87 team, the 1992 team, and now these 2019, 18, 17 teams. So to see where we came from, you know, like, you know, when I became the head coach of Houston, you know, I can recall the UH Faculty Senate voting to do away with athletics shortly after that. And then we were struggling financially. And then, you know, I had 3 presidents, 3 ADs, and then we changed leagues. I mean, we went through a lot of things. And then, of course, I left Houston and was gone for 12 years, moved around, and I came back. And then, you know, Mac rose to AD, and we started to get things, trying to get them going again. And it was slow. And then all of a sudden, Coach Sampson came in, and then he had a great vision, smart enough to put some things in writing. And all of a sudden, you know, the investment was tremendous in terms of growing the program. And next thing you know, the culture changed. We became highly competitive. And to see us grow from that point to going to the Final Four now, in the first one since '84. And I remember the '84 teams, the '83 teams, and, you know, some of those guys, you know, Clyde and, you know, Cadillac Anderson, Ricky Winslow, good friends of mine. And I talked to them, but to see where we have come from to where we are now is truly amazing, truly amazing. And it's just a testament to the culture that's been built, the things, you know, Coach Sampson, the staff, and so, yeah, but the thing that makes it really crazy for me, Joseph, is now to know that on the other end, the first game we're going to play in the semifinal national championship is my son, Al, and Baylor. That I can't imagine what that's like. You know, Al mentioned earlier that he never wanted to coach. I never wanted him to coach. And I did tell him to call me back in 2 weeks. You don't really want to do this, so we'll do something else. You know, when trained for this. But my mother, before she passed, and I was 18, always said, Al's going to be a coach. He's going to be a college coach. He's going to be a good college coach. I said, nah, we don't see that. But, you know, and it came to pass. So and here we are.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Kendall Cott, please. Forgive me if I mispronounced your name there. Kendall, go ahead, sir.
This is for both of you. You all knew you had really good teams all season heading into the campaign. Was there some moment where it hit you, oh my God, we might play in the NCAA tournament or even go into the Elite Eight, where you're like, that's just too strange of a coincidence to happen?
I know we both had, you know, we always felt like we had great teams. I think the biggest thing is we didn't know how the bracket would turn out. And, you know, we knew that there'd be a high seed and we'll be a high seed. So we were just more looking at, okay, when will we meet up? And so we wanted to not meet up before the Final Four, but, you know, obviously meeting up at the Final Four is definitely a blessing.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I honestly, you know, coaches, you know, you just want to go 1-0 every game in the tournament. But I would not be honest if I didn't tell you, when I looked at the bracket and I looked at our bracket in the Midwest, and we were the number 2 seed in the Midwest. Illinois was the 1 seed. And then I saw their bracket in the South. And then I saw if they won their region and we won our region, then we would meet in the semifinals. I was like, wow, that would be crazy. But I won't think that far ahead. And as we won the first round game, say 3 more to go. On the second round game, 2 more to go. I said, man, this is getting real. And then as we got to that Sweet 16, and then next thing you know, we're in the Elite Eight. And so all we can do at that point is, man, we got to go 1-0 and 1-0. And we'll get a chance to see each other, you know, on the same court. And then it's a pandemic. So it's, you know, usually you get back home and then you fly to the Final Four, you get ready. But we've all been right here together. So all 16 teams in Sweet 16, we're right here in the same hotel. And so I've had a chance to see and talk with Al and his staff. And, you know, it's been just amazing, man. You know, it's hard to explain. It's surreal.
Thank you, Kendall. We'll go to Sam Khan with The Athletic. Sam, go ahead, please, sir.
This one's for Alvin III. Why did you want to be a coach? And then for Dad, why did you not want him initially to do it?
Well, Rashard Lewis is a very, very close friend of mine. He was the best man at my wedding. And at the time, he was playing for the Seattle Sonics. And I was in Seattle with him for about 2 months. At that time, I was working in the finance industry. I have a business finance degree. And I was miserable. I was chasing money, to be honest with you. And so I thought I was going to be a millionaire. I thought I was going to manage athletes' money and be a millionaire. But I found out that that wasn't my calling. So I would go watch him practice, and I would go to his games. And one day at practice, Nate McMillan and Dwayne Casey were the coaches, and I was watching them, and I was like, man, I could do this. I mean, that's not a job. And so I called my dad, and I was like, I want to be a coach. And then that's when he said, no, call me back in 2 weeks. So those 2 weeks, I went and watched almost every Seattle Sonic practice and every game until he called me back and told me, I think you may have an opportunity to go to junior college. And I'm thinking, like, junior college? You're at Texas A&M. Why can't I come with you? But, he had me go to junior college so I could learn how to do everything. And I'm thankful for that.
Well, Sam, I didn't want him to coach because, for one, as he was growing up, Al was always a great student, and did a very good job in the classroom. And Al's a numbers guy. I mean, I'm not. He's a numbers guy. He's got a finance degree. He's got his master's in athletic administration. So he was kind of, I thought, built for that. And to be successful in coaching, you have to have an absolute love and passion for it, because there's going to be so many ups and downs. And so at that time, I was not convinced. I knew he loved basketball, but you have to be in love with coaching, which is managing people and putting out fires and figuring out solutions for things that nobody else can see, have a vision for. And so I knew he was smart enough, but, I just wanted to see if he had that passion. So my thought was, yeah, you're not really serious about this. So let's see if you are. And so he actually had an offer to a Division I school from a friend of mine initially, first coming out. And I said, nope, he can't accept that. He ain't ready. He needs to go figure out what to do. And that came from my experience coming up through the ranks, that, I thought, old school guys, you have to learn kind of, go through the steps. And so I thought if he went to junior college, he was going to have to be the academic advisor, the custodian, sweep the floor. He actually, I think, then you open up the rec center at 5 in the morning or something like that every day. 4 in the morning, I'm sorry. Dorm RA. I mean, he had to do all of that, and you have to put together a roster every single year. So it's more than recruiting, because recruiting and putting together a roster are two different things. And so you have to do all that in junior college. And I thought, man, if he can learn how to do all of that and he can survive that, then he's truly has a love for it. And so I remember he started off at Fort Smith in Arkansas, and the first month or so, they said they couldn't pay him. So the first few weeks, he just was kind of working for free. And so I was thinking myself, just laughing myself, well, surely he's going to say he don't want to do this anymore. It's summertime, nobody's there. So I called him back in a few weeks and said, man, how you like it? Man, I love it. I said, oh my gosh, this dude's going to be in it. And so, and then he kind of got hooked, because his first year they went to the Elite Eight, and then junior college, second year they won a national championship. Then he leaves there and goes to Midland Junior College, and they win a national championship there, back to back, 2 different schools. And I thought, and I kept telling him along the way, it's hard to win like that all the time. And he just kept winning. I just said, well, he's hooked now. So, but he's done a good job, and he understands what it's all about. He does it the right way. I mean, serves his coaches and his kids and the community very well. It's all about the program and the team, and all about making sure everybody wins.
Thank you. We'll go to Emily Giambalvo. Emily, forgive me if I mispronounced your name there. Go ahead.
You're good. This is for Alvin III. I was just curious what your memories are of being a coach's son and around your dad's programs, and how does that influence kind of the way you balance things with having your own family?
Oh, well, the rules were a lot different back then than they are now. Back then, my dad didn't have a limitation on recruiting. So he was gone quite a bit, to where now there are a lot more rules, to where I'm able to see my sons a little bit more, because NCAA changed the rules for the better. So just a few things. When I was in high school, he was the head coach at Houston. And, after a game, if we lost, I should say, because I was a part of it, if we lost, he would be in the gym all night watching the game film and trying to figure out how to fix it. And, me being a high school kid, I'm thinking like, you know, I didn't have a car at the time, so I had to wait on him. And we lived maybe 30 minutes away, 30 to 45 minutes away. And so I had to wait on him. And, you know, sometimes we'll get home at like 3 in the morning and I had school the next day. And so little things like that, I was like, man, I don't want to be a coach because I don't want to have to be in the office after a loss every night. And so, but, you know, I think it's something that I thought that I didn't want to do, but I mean, you can't stop what you love. And so it's something that, you know, I try not to stay. It's one thing I try not to stay at the office, but, you know, sometimes I guess if you play bad, your mind just gravitate that way. And even when I go home, my wife, she goes to sleep before I get there because she said I'm not going to be fun to talk to anyway. So.
We'll go to Curtis Quillen, please. Curtis, go ahead, sir.
This is for both of you. I mean, you guys are both kind of coaching two of the best stories in the tournament with, you know, where both of your programs were when you got to your current posts and where they are now. I mean, does that add to the meaning when you guys look at what not only what you yourself has accomplished, but what the other has accomplished as well, to the meaning of playing each other on Saturday?
Go ahead, Al.
Well, obviously, yeah, for me, I mean, you look at me, I think if this Hall of Fame appearance don't stamp Coach Drew to be in the Hall of Fame, then I don't know what else we need to do. I mean, I think this the best rebuilding job in basketball history, considering where it was when he was named the head coach until now. And so if he's not a Hall of Famer based off of this rebuilding job, then I mean, I think it's unbelievable. Obviously, we all know what happened, unfortunately. And for us to be in the Final Four 18 years later, I mean, I think that it's kind of a Hollywood story, to be honest. I don't think you could write a better script. I think if you show what happened, to be a part of, I mean, just the success even the past 2 years, winning 23 games in a row, which is a Big 12 record, and then having a season cut short with, you know, we would have been a #1 seed last year. And now having the guys come back and they actually living up to the hype and being a #1 seed again and actually being in the Final Four, I think that's a unbelievable story, and I'm blessed to be a part of it because, you know, they're not just great players, they're great people. And we're blessed to have them, and they've definitely raised the standard for the program. And so we have to figure out a way to continue it and even raise it even higher.
Yep. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and obviously I've been with Coach Sampson for 7 years, and I was here prior to him arriving, and you know, he was out of college coaching. So to be a part of Coach Sampson and Kellen and Lauren, is the family, the Sampson family, and to kind of help him navigate the land in the city of Houston in terms of recruiting and kind of what the culture is like in the city, in terms of trying to get parents and kids, AAU coaches and high school coaches to respect our program, kind of what they're looking for, and to help him kind of build that and get back into college coaching, come to Houston and, man, resurrect his career and to take his second school to the Final Four, one of only 16 coaches to do that. I'm really happy to be a part of that. So for him, and then the other thing is, this is my 23rd year at Houston, so I have a great love for the university, and it's obviously my home city. So to actually be a part of that, man, really makes me feel good about where we are.
Thank you. We'll go to Steve McGargy from the Associated Press. Steve, forgive me if I mispronounced your name there.
Close enough. Congratulations to you both. I was just wondering, y'all were talking about trying to get more tickets and stuff. How many family members are y'all expecting to be out there for the game?
We actually need to talk after this and figure it out, to be honest with you. I've received a lot of texts, a lot of calls, and I'm sure you have too. So we have to figure out how we're going to make it work.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know yet. We've gotten a lot of calls and a lot of text messages. So obviously we can't accommodate everybody. So we're going to try to take care of maybe immediate family. And then Al has a unique position in that some of the guys like Damon Jones that play in the league, that played at Houston, some of those other guys, you know, they consider him family. You know, he mentioned Rashard, you know, Rashard's dad and I played together at Lamar. All those guys are trying to just come to the game, you know, and as well as family. So we're going to have to sit down and figure out between the two of us how we can accommodate some.
All right. We'll go to Lucas Weiss with the undefeated. Lucas, go ahead, please.
Congratulations to you both on making it to the Final Four. Two questions. First to Alvin III. It seems like a game doesn't go by where Jonathan Chichua makes a big play coming off the bench, really providing that energy spark to your guys. I'm just curious if you could just speak to how important that energy spark is for your team.
It was extremely important. Like anything, energy is like fire. It spreads. And so by him having energy, he makes a big play that gives our guys energy to make the next big play. And so, we're big on our bench having a lot of energy and feeding our guys that's on the court. And so when he makes a play, that just everybody feeds off of it. And I think sometimes it allows us to go on a run.
And then to Alvin, how has Dejan Giroux grown this year as both a player and a leader on and off the court?
Oh, tremendous growth, man. That guy is the poster child for senior leadership and for a guy that has overcome obstacles. He didn't have a great year, obviously, last year. The year before that, he was sixth man of the year. And it was difficult for him to navigate getting back to the level he's at now. So I think we've told some of our younger guys, if you want to figure out how to get your game going and how to improve, follow Dejan's path. I mean, the guy finally figured he matured, did a ton of work watching film, really submitted to Coach Sampson and his philosophy, grew a closer connection to him. And he's the heart and soul of our team now. He's the leader of our team. And he's a major reason why we're here. So just really excited and happy for him.
Thank you, Lucas. We'll go time for a few more questions. We'll go to Darby Brown, please. Darby, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for doing this. For Alvin III first, I saw the video of you guys interacting after the win. Can you kind of take me through that moment? And then, just any other interactions you've had in the bubble?
I think that moment when I seen him after we got back from the game last night, probably that'd be a lifetime memory just for, to see him walking up with a Final Four hat on. And me having a Final Four hat, I honestly, normally we're both not emotional people. We both kind of hide our emotions a lot. Well, obviously I get it from him. And normally we give manly hugs to where it's, half hug. But, last night we embraced each other, and I think we squeezed each other tighter than we ever have in our whole life. So it's definitely a special moment for both of us. And, it's something that we'll cherish forever.
Yeah, truly special moment. And, we obviously, our staff, we were enjoying, our Final Four berth with Coach Sampson and the rest of the staff. And then Alvin played last. And so once he told me they were on their way back to the hotel, and obviously I went down to their, near their ballroom and just wanted to make sure I gave him a big hug and to just actually see him with the Final Four hat on, the same ones I have. It's hard to get here, but then to get to the Final Four in the same year, and then you guys are going to play each other in the very first semifinal game, just unbelievable. It's amazing. So I just had to go and share that moment with him. As coaches talk about all the time, guys coach their whole career and never get here. And then so now to finally get here and then to have the special moment to actually have your son share it, and then he's with his team. Could not imagine it. He and I talked last year about they had a really good team, had a chance to get there. Pandemic hit, couldn't play. And we talked about, if he made it to the Final Four, I would be at his game. If I made it, he would come to our game. Well, whoever imagined that we would both be there and now we're going to be at the other end of each other's bench, So great moment.
Okay, time for a few more. We'll go to Jerry Hill, please. Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider, Alvin III. I was wondering about if you guys ever did one-on-one growing up, and was there ever a point where you could beat him?
We never played basketball one-on-one. We played video games one-on-one, he would basically outsmart me. I was the type of kid we played football game and I would want to throw long passes but he'll run the clock and kick a field goal at the end or something. I'm like, come on, man. And so we play more video games than anything, but never like, basketball one-on-one.
So you let your dad beat you in video games?
Unfortunately, I didn't let him. He actually beat me. I got to give him credit, but he couldn't beat me now. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't play anymore, but back then, he had to learn the value of planning how to win. So it was like no opportunities to win, none.
Hey, and Alvin, I wanted to share with you real quick. I was at North Texas when you beat us in '83.
Okay.
So I don't like you. I don't really like you. Kenneth Lyons was on that North Texas team. So
Kenneth Lyons, yeah, a long time ago, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, Marcus Sasser's grandfather actually is played in North Texas.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, he's North Texas legend. Yep.
Go Mean Green.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to Kevin Lonnquist, please. Kevin, go ahead.
Alvin, you mentioned Mac Rhodes earlier in this conference call, and then Alvin III, you obviously are under Mac, and I want you guys to talk about what Mac's presence in the athletic departments, from your perspectives, how he's helped play a role in these programs reach the heights that they are reaching at this point. Alvin, if you want to start, please do.
Well, Mac, I actually met Mac when I was at Texas El Paso, and we were there with Billy Gillespie, and we had just gotten there. And I got there, they were struggling. They won 4 games the year before, and then Mac helped us kind of redo the locker room and did some things to improve facilities, and we won immediately and went to the tournament. And then I went to A&M from there, and then so I just kind of vaguely kept in touch with him. And next thing you know, Mac became the athletic director at the University of Houston. And then after going to Kentucky myself and coming back, then I went back to Houston. And so when Mac was there, watching him kind of help the planning stages of rebuilding facilities at the University of Houston, football and basketball. I mean, Mac is that hidden or that figure that, a lot of people don't talk about, that he got the ball rolling, and where we are now with the Guy V. Lewis, the Fertitta Center, Football Illustrated Stadium. I mean, Mac kind of was really a big part of getting that started. Now have Mac at Baylor with Al, again, with my son, that's one of those things you just can't imagine, because, I know how committed he is to making sure athletics excel. So, kudos to Mac for getting us off to a great start and, getting us to the level where we're at now.
We'll go to Jeff Eisenberg, please. Jeff, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Alvin, as your son was playing last night, just kind of describe the emotions a little bit of watching that game and, knowing that he had the chance to join you. Where did you watch, and how emotionally taxing is it when you're not able to do anything?
Oh, extremely stressful. Started watching when we were at Lucas Oil, because as we were celebrating, of course, they had the court on the other side. And so I could hear the game, kind of the announcement just getting started. And then they played the game on the big screen. So I'm watching it, and they got off to a good start. And so we then went into the locker room, Lucas Oil. We watched some of it there, and they were doing fine. Then we went to the hotel. And then by the time we got to the hotel, got off the bus, talked a little bit, when it cost the game. And then they was just like a 4-point game. And I was like extremely stressed at that point. And then finally, I had to walk away from it. I couldn't watch it. It's a lot easier being a part of a close game with ourselves than watching him play. And so then I had to come back to it and then watch it, and then just to try to see if they can get through it. So yeah, it was taxing. It was stressful, because I always want him to win, but in this particular case, it was a chance to get to the Final Four. And so that was big for them to come through like that. And then obviously a chance to play us is another thing as well.
Okay. Got time for a couple more questions here. I got one more hand raised. I see Joseph Duarte again with the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, go ahead, please.
Hey, Alvin, I was curious, when your head coaching run ended at Houston, it's not real common for a coach to stay associated with the program. Why do you think you've been able to, come back and, when the coaching change was made to Kelvin immediately added you? I mean, do you feel like, that what you've done, that sort of association has really helped you to, be a part of the university as long as you've had?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. I've always been big and was taught to, I just don't burn bridges. I just don't burn bridges. And at the time, when I left the university back in '98 as a head coach, it was just a tough stint. I mentioned all the things that we went through and changed leagues and those kind of things. And then, my mother was sick the whole time and she passed away 3 weeks after I got let go. So, that was a difficult time for Al and I both and our family. And I actually went into the oil and gas business for 8 months, believe it or not. I got out of coaching. And then I started back. While I was doing it, I started a little league baseball team at United Way Agency in my community, Fifth Ward. Well, I actually got a couple of U of H alums to help me fund this youth program, and kind of got, kept my love for working with kids. And then I went back into coaching, and I always stayed in touch with a lot of people because Houston's home. And so I didn't burn any bridges. And then when I came back, same thing. And all I was about was trying to help the university move forward, improve the brand. And then my best way of doing that was kind of introducing Kelvin to some key people, like maybe in alums that were good to know, and let them know kind of how good a guy he was, and then also help us in the recruiting area. So I think that it was clear that my efforts were sincere and genuine, and so I think that's kind of allowed me to stay. And then to his credit, a guy that's a former head coach and that's liked by a lot of people, that didn't bother him. And so, he was able to give me the opportunity to help him and to continue to do what I do best.
We'll go back to Sam Khan with The Athletic. Sam, go ahead, please.
This is for Alvin III. Did you know about the Division I opportunity that was there for you when you were first breaking in, or did you find out about that after the fact? And what were your experiences at the junior college level like?
I just found that out today, right now. No, I'm just joking. No, I didn't find out until a couple years afterwards. He made sure he didn't tell me for a while, but my experience in junior college, I actually, it started off a little rough, to be honest, because I was, I have a big heart. And so one thing, I live in the same apartments with our players. And so I was pretty young. And so I was fresh out of college. And so I would have them over my house actually playing video games. And so I would be around them. And my dad really taught me early to have the separation of coach to where they respect me. I think I was spending so much time with them to where some of the guys couldn't, they can't tell the difference between, okay, I'm your coach. I'm trying to build a relationship with you. I'm not your friend. And, and we had a couple guys that, were, they had some bad habits. And so my goal was to save them all. And I was so stressed because I was trying to save them all, man. I was so stressed to I literally had a hole in the middle of my head from stress. Like I had to go to the doctor. I remember my pop saying, hey, you can't save them all, but do everything you can to save them all, but you can't stress yourself when they don't get it. And so little things like that, I learned a lot by being in junior college, because I had to walk kids to class every day. I had to work at a fitness center at 4 a.m, and it'd actually be people that waiting on me to open it up. It was a lot to do with recruiting, and obviously had to do scouting reports because it was only one of the assistants. So I was forced to do everything, and it helped me grow a lot.